Zella, are you all right? You look pale. Raelia's soft voice, like honey-soaked cotton, carried just the right amount of concern as her cool fingertips gently brushed my wrist. These were the hands that once tenderly adjusted my collar and passed me warm water, only to turn around and forge false evidence framing me for leaking Harper Group's core secrets. These were the hands that held me tightly in comfort after my parents' car accident, yet secretly seized all my inheritance through underhanded means. These were the very hands that crushed drug-laced pills into my coffee, watching as I transformed from a bright heiress into a delirious madwoman, and finally, smiling as she pushed me off the rooftop of the mental asylum when I tried to beg for help. I yanked my hand away abruptly, nails digging into my palm. The sharp pain coursed through my nerves. This was no dream. I had truly been reborn, back to my 22nd birthday banquet, where the crystal chandelier still spun, guests' laughter still echoed, and all tragedies were yet to unfold. In my past life, at this exact moment, I would have been touched by Raelia's concern, clinging to her hand to complain about the recent pressures of the company, seeing her as my only reliance, never suspecting I had long fallen into the trap she wove. But now, only ice-cold indifference remained in my eyes, not a trace of the naivety and timidity from before. Nothing's wrong. I picked up another glass of champagne, my fingertips gliding over the icy rim as my gaze swept across the room. Beneath the crystal light, figures in elegant attire mingled. Marcus, my father's former right-hand man, stood nearby, the pearl buttons on his suit cuffs glinting, watching me with a complex expression. He had been fooled by Raelia's lie that Zella is too young to bear the burden of the family business, in my past life. Vincent Thorne, a business rival, leaned against the bar, a cigar between his fingers, his playful gaze lingering between Raelia and me, calculation evident in his eyes. And in the corner, a silent figure, Cale Novak, dressed in a well-tailored black suit, his fingers unconsciously brushing the rim of his glass. He was the only one who had tried to defend me in my past life, only to be falsely accused by Raelia of sexual harassment and commercial espionage, ultimately forced to flee New York, his whereabouts unknown. Unaware of my distance, Raelia linked her arm through mine, her nails nearly digging into my skin. Her voice dropped, laced with just the right amount of grievance, loud enough for the two noble ladies passing by to hear clearly. Zella, are you still mad at me? At the cocktail party the other day, I really didn't mean to make Mr. Thorne misunderstand your relationship with Mr. Novak. I was just so worried about you, afraid you'd be deceived. In my past life, hearing this, I would have hurried to explain, even apologizing for getting Raelia involved in gossip. But now, I simply pulled my arm away gently, holding the champagne glass as I strode slowly to the center of the banquet hall, where a scarlet carpet led to a massive projection screen, ensuring all guests' eyes would easily focus on me. Worried about me? I chuckled softly, my voice not loud, yet carried through every corner via the banquet hall's sound system. Worried that I'd steal Vincent, whom you've been pining for? Or worried that I'd discover you snuck into my study to copy files while I attended the charity gala last week? Raelia's face turned as pale as a sheet in an instant, her pupils contracting slightly like a cornered cat. She forced a calm expression, shaking her head. Zella, what are you talking about? How could I do such a thing? Have you had too much to drink? She tried to approach, intending to hide her panic with a hug, even deliberately tripping over her own feet, hoping to create the illusion that I pushed her while speaking recklessly from drunkenness. But I had anticipated this, stepping aside and lifting my hand to steady her arm, just enough force to keep her balanced, preventing her from staging her helpless fall. Someone who's had too much to drink wouldn't remember so many details. I walked slowly to the projection screen, picked up the remote, and pressed play. The screen, which had been showing birthday greetings, switched abruptly to a clear surveillance video. On it, Raelia, wearing the cream-colored dress I had given her and a baseball cap, snuck into my study with a spare key, skillfully plugging in a USB drive to copy files from my computer. She even knelt in front of the safe, repeatedly trying to pick the lock with a hairpin I had left in the living room, her face filled with greed and eagerness. The banquet hall fell silent instantly, followed by a chorus of gasps. This footage, captured by a pinhole camera I had hired a private detective to install immediately after my rebirth, was so clear you could see the desire in her eyes. In my past life, I had died never knowing how she had gained my trust time and time again, only to stab me in the back with fatal blows. This time, I would make all her pretense shatter inch by inch under the gaze of all these guests. This is fake. You forged this, Zella. Raelia's voice cracked with sobs, tears streaming down her face like broken pearls. She turned and threw herself at Marcus, clinging tightly to his arm. Uncle Marcus, you know me. I grew up with Zella, how could I betray her? We're like sisters. She must be delirious from the recent company stress. She trembled violently as she cried, even deliberately biting her lip until a trickle of blood seeped out, looking so pitiful that anyone unaware might truly be deceived. Marcus frowned, his gaze probing as he looked at me. In my past life, it was precisely because he had fallen for Raelia's act that he supported her as the temporary manager of the family business, giving her the opportunity to seize power. Whether it's fake or not, we just need to check the USB drive. I spoke calmly, gesturing for a bodyguard to bring over a sealed evidence bag emblazoned with the Forensic Center's logo. This was found in the hidden compartment of Raelia's apartment drawer yesterday afternoon. The creation time of the files inside matches the surveillance footage exactly. Furthermore, I've had FBI-certified technicians examine it, only her fingerprints are on the drive, with no signs of tampering. The bodyguard handed the evidence bag to Marcus. He opened it, glanced inside, and his expression darkened instantly. Guests began murmuring among themselves, their gazes toward Raelia shifting from sympathy to suspicion. Some pulled out their phones to take photos, others whispering, "I never thought she'd be like this," or, "She looks so innocent." Raelia's body swayed unsteadily, her tears flowing even harder, but she changed her story, clinging to her last lifeline. "Zella, even if I took the files, it's only because I was worried you couldn't handle the company. You've been in such a bad state lately, insomnia, forgetfulness. I just wanted to help share the burden, to keep Harper Group going." She screamed at the top of her lungs, even dropping to her knees on the carpet, hands clasped together, looking humble and pitiful. "Help share the burden?" I sneered, pulling out my phone and playing a recording. From the sharp speakers came Raelia's voice, coquettish and utterly different from her usual fragility. "Vincent, I've already got half of Harper Group's core technology. Once I fully control the company, I'll give you the complete data. When you take over Harper, don't forget the rewards you promised. I want to be Mrs. Thorne, plus 30% of Harper Group's shares." The recording also contained their plot to frame me and ruin my reputation, every word filled with calculation and greed. As the recording played, Raelia's face turned from pale to livid, then completely bloodless. She collapsed to the ground, only to be caught by a bodyguard just in time. Her eyes widened, bloodshot, looking as if she had gone mad. "And no. That's not true. Zella forced me to say that. She threatened me with my mother's relics, made me lie to Vincent like that." She screamed hysterically, mad with rage, suddenly breaking free from the bodyguard's grasp and lunging at me, her sharp nails aiming for my face. "Zella Harper, you bitch. You're jealous that I'm more popular, jealous that Mr. Thorne likes me, so you set me up. I'll kill you." The bodyguards reacted quickly, stepping forward to restrain her, pinning her to the ground. Raelia struggled violently, her hair disheveled, makeup smudged beyond recognition, her lipstick smearing like bloodstains. Nothing remained of her previous elegance. "Let me go. Are you all blind? It's Zella who's framing me. She's the villain," she roared, even slamming her head against the bodyguard's leg, completely delirious. Just then, Kale Novak stepped out of the corner. Dressed in a black suit, his aura cold and sharp, he held a thick stack of documents as he walked toward Raelia, looking down at her condescendingly. "Raelia Ventura, 3 years ago you forged a Stanford University diploma to intern at Harper Group. 2 years ago, you embezzled $3 million in company funds to pay off gambling debts. A year ago, you maliciously spread rumors about Zella using drugs and having a promiscuous personal life, even bribing reporters to write false stories. Do you still deny these evidences? He threw the documents at Raelia's feet. The scattered papers included forensic reports of her fake diploma, bank transfer records, payment receipts to reporters, and chat logs with gamblers, irrefutable proof. Raelia stared at the papers on the ground, her pupils dilating, her lips trembling as she struggled to speak. All color drained from her face, leaving only despair. In my past life, Cale had been discovered investigating these matters by her, leading her to falsely accuse him, forcing him to flee New York. This time, I had contacted him in advance, sharing all the clues I knew, giving him ample time to gather evidence. Impossible. How could you have these? They're all fake. Fake. Raelia's voice was filled with despair, tears mixing with her smudged makeup, streaking black lines down her face. She looked utterly wretched, yet still roared, "You're all in this together to frame me. Uncle Marcus, save me. Vincent, come defend me." She turned to Vincent, only to see him walking over from the bar, a sneer on his face. He kicked away her hand as she tried to grab his trouser leg. "Raelia, I thought you truly cared about me, but it turns out you were just using me to take down Harper Group. You're a heartless, venomous woman, disgusting." He even pulled out his phone, tapping on a video. "Forgot to tell you, I recorded every word of our plots. I originally kept it as insurance, but who knew it would become evidence now?" Raelia completely collapsed, collapsing to the floor in hysterical sobs, muttering incoherently, one moment claiming she was threatened, the next that the evidence was forged, then cursing everyone around her. But no one believed her anymore. The guests' murmurs grew louder, their gazes of contempt and disgust piercing her like needles. Someone shouted, "Call the police," while others cursed, "Despicable villain." Marcus watched the chaos unfold, his face filled with remorse. He walked up to me and bowed deeply. "Miss Zella, I misjudged her, almost leading to irreparable damage. I'm willing to take full responsibility. Uncle Marcus, let the past be the past." I spoke softly, my gaze fixed on Raelia, my eyes cold and devoid of emotion. "But some people must pay for their actions." I gestured for the bodyguards to call the police. At the word, police, Raelia seemed to be triggered, suddenly bursting with incredible strength as she broke free from the bodyguards and ran toward the banquet hall's entrance, screaming as she fled, "I can't be arrested. I can't go to jail. Zella Harper, I'll never let you get away with this, even from beyond the grave." But the entrance was already blocked by bodyguards. She had only taken 2 steps before being tackled to the ground, her wrists cuffed behind her back. Raelia struggled frantically, spitting insults, even trying to bite people, completely feral. "Let me go. You dogs. Zella, just you wait. I'll get my revenge." I should be the one saying that. I looked down at her, all the pain, despair, and hatred from my past life fading away in that moment, leaving only relief. "From the day you betrayed me, from the day you pushed me off that rooftop, you should have known this day would come." The sound of police sirens grew closer, soon stopping outside the banquet hall. 2 police officers entered, showing their badges before placing handcuffs on Raelia, who stood accused of commercial espionage, embezzlement, defamation, and forgery. As she was pulled to her feet, her hair messy, face streaked with tears and curses, her makeup ruined beyond recognition, she was a far cry from the elegant socialite she had been moments before. As she passed the guests, someone threw a tissue at her, others muttering insults, yet she still roared, "Zella Harper, I'll never forgive you." Watching her being led out of the banquet hall, her screams fading into the distance, the tension in my shoulders finally eased. Sunlight streamed through the banquet hall's floor-to-ceiling windows, warming my body, dispelling all the darkness left by my past life. Kale walked over to me, handing me a glass of warm water. It's over. I took the glass, feeling the warmth seep into my fingertips, and turned to him with a relieved smile. No. It's just the beginning. Marcus stepped forward, his expression firm. Miss Zella, I will fully assist you in managing the company from now on, rooting out all those Raelia planted. I will never let anyone harm Harper Group's interests again. Vincent also approached, an ingratiating smile on his face. Miss Zella, I was foolish earlier, deceived by Raelia. I hope you'll give me a chance to make amends. No need. I cut him off coldly. Mr. Thorne, I have already gathered all evidence of your collusion with Raelia to sabotage Harper Group, which I will pass on to my lawyers. Starting today, Harper Group will terminate all cooperation with Thorne Enterprises and sue you for commercial infringement. Vincent's face turned deathly pale, stumbling back a step. He tried to speak, but was silenced by a single glance from Marcus, forced to slink away in defeat. The guests surrounded me, offering their congratulations, praising me for being young yet decisive, discerning right from wrong. Some even took the opportunity to propose business collaborations with Harper Group. I responded politely, wearing a composed smile, not the timid, ingratiating grin of my past life, but one of confidence, poise, and authority. As the sun set, I stood on the banquet hall's terrace, gazing at New York's bustling night sky, neon lights flickering, traffic flowing like rivers. Raelia's downfall was just the beginning. Next, I would revitalize Harper Group, rooting out all traitors, making it shine brighter than ever under my leadership. And as for those hidden enemies, those who had harmed me in my past life, I would hunt them down one by one, ensuring they paid for their crimes. The evening breeze gently brushed my face, carrying the faint scent of flowers. I knew the road ahead would not be smooth, but I was no longer the naive, trusting Zella Harper of before. Tempered by the fires of hell, I had been reborn, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, ready to soar freely in the sky that belonged to me.